this summer in August, and I sat in front of the Swedish Parliament, and I school strike for the climate. And then after that, I have sat every Friday, and so I'm going to continue doing that until Sweden is in line with the Paris Agreement.
And how much support do you get? Do you get noticed when you are not in school and when you're sitting on the steps of the Swedish Parliament?
Yes, I mean, they support me and they support my message, but maybe not the part of me not being at school, but they help me catch up and so on, so they're supportive.
So that's great. So you're not falling behind in your studies. What made you be so passionate about the environment? What was it that sparked that interest in you?
My interest about the climate and the environment began when I was maybe 10 years old, and my teachers in school told me that there's something called climate change and global warming, and it's caused by humans and our behavior. And I thought that sounded very strange, because if that was so, if there was something that big that threatened our very existence, then that would be our first priority. We wouldn't be talking about anything else. But it wasn't our first priority, and I'm that kind of person who doesn't like when people say one thing and then do another thing. And that was the case with climate change. Everyone said that it's the most important issue of all, and it's an existential threat, and yet they just carried on like before. And so I started reading about it, and the more I read about it, the more I understood. And once you fully understand the climate crisis, you cannot understand it. Then you're stuck. You have to do something about it.
Well, you know what? You have unstuck yourself, and you've unstuck a lot of people and made them aware of this crisis in a way that they perhaps weren't before listening to you. You made a big splash at COP24 in Poland, and you made a big splash at Davos. And I want to play this little clip of you addressing all these world leaders at Davos.
Adults keep saying, we owe it to the young people to give them hope. But I don't want your hope. I don't want you to be hopeful. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day. And then I want you to act. I want you to act as if you would in a crisis. I want you to act as if the house was on fire. Because it is.
Do you write your own speeches, Greta? I mean, it's really quite incredible, the words you use and the logic you use. You use a logic that you would think adults would use, but they don't. And yet you're completely clear from A to B to C.
Yes, I write my own speeches, but since I know that a lot of my speeches will be listened to by many people, I have to have some people who have like input, and I also ask scientists sometimes, like, is this correct, and how would you put that in a phrase, and so I get help from people when I ask for help.
So what you do is you take the facts, not just what you believe or what you don't believe, but you take the facts and you try to make people aware of them. I want to ask you about your own self and what it is about your brain and the way you see things and the way the wires are connected in your brain that allows you to put, these pieces together and speak in such a logical way. I mean, you've talked about being diagnosed on the sort of Asperger's syndrome on the spectrum. Is that correct?
Yes, I have Asperger's syndrome, and that means that I work a bit different. My brain works a bit different, and I see things like black and white, and like I'm very logic, and I like logic and so on, and yes, so I see the world a bit different.
And so it's helpful for you. I mean, this unique way that you think is incredibly helpful for you in trying to put across a very clear message. Is that right?
Yes, I think so, because if I wouldn't have been so strange, then I would have been caught up in the social game that everyone else seems so fond of.
I mean, I really love what you're saying. It's really interesting to hear you speaking like that. But I wonder what these world leaders think. I mean, how do they treat you? Do they patronize you? Do they treat you like an adult? What reaction do you get after going on stage and telling them off?
I often get like nervous laughter. They don't know how to react really, and that's fun in a way. But they respect me, and so yeah, they treat me well.
Well, but that's good to hear. What about your parents? How have they reacted and how have they adapted to this incredible activism that you're now spearheading?
When I first told them about this school strike idea, they weren't very fond of it. They said, are you sure you want to do this? Isn't there any other way you can make your voice heard? And then I said, no, I'm going to do this. And I had made up my mind. And they said, if you're going to do this, you are going to have to do this all by yourself. We aren't going to help you. And yeah, but I mean, they understand why I'm doing it, and they can't stop me from doing it. So yeah.
And have they changed their habits?